No, I'll spend my whole life trying to live up to the example he set.
What was it like finding that reply, forgetting that he had replied? I
No,
mean,
well, certainly it brings tears to my eyes because, he was incredible. And towards the end of his life, we did get a little more direct, where he would say, "Hey, I'm sorry I worked so hard." And I'd say, "No, no, that was fine to uh to be doing that." And so instead of things being sort of through my mom when she was gone, he had to build up that communication. In a way, it was far more intimate. I feel lucky that he lived
much more emotive, intimate space. Like, what does that look like for a father and a son across all those years?
and when I was going off to college, I'd call my parents every couple of weeks, but you couldn't like text and send photos. And so, but I always knew, that they were supportive. And so I actually got into a little bit of trouble where I'd taken my colleagues into the computer center and done some of the early Microsoft Basic work. And the college, as they filled position to supervise that computer center, were like, "Wow, did you break the rules?" And, my dad was always so kind of wise, when I ever was like, "Oh my God, I may have screwed up here. I better get on top of this." That's a time where I call him in and his advice is very helpful. Then later we have a customer who's not paying us, and our very first customer, another case where my dad encouraged me to stay the course. So it wasn't in those days that I talked to him a lot, but that when I was in trouble, he was the one person, who was so sophisticated and, on my side that his advice really did help me at a lot of key turning points. And, then later when we have a relationship where we actually talk intimately, I was able to thank him for that.
Do you remember one of the final conversations you had with him? And
Well, he got Alzheimer's, and because he was such a nice person, he was still like super nice, always worried, did his caregivers get enough meals? Or, eventually